My girlfriend told me not to come to her family dinner because her ex would be there. I even planned to propose to her. When he left her, she tried to come back, but I had already moved on. I, 27, male, work in project management for a mid-size company here in Ohio. Been living in the same city since college because why leave when you've got a decent job in your own place? Also got a decent truck that's actually paid off. Not the most exciting existence, but I'm stable and comfortable. The Silverado was my first real adult purchase. I bought it used from some farmer who'd babied it like his firstborn. Thing had 40,000 miles and a spotless maintenance record. Spent my first weekend installing a tunnel cover and upgrading the sound system because stock speakers sound like they're underwater. After a string of relationships that crashed and burned because apparently being too serious is worse than being a man-child, I'd basically given up on dating. I was focusing on work, hitting the gym, and restoring this 1987 Camaro I bought off Craigslist. Then my buddy Jake throws this barbecue in summer 2021, and I meet Andrea. This girl was everything I thought I wanted. Art teacher at the local elementary school had this laugh that could stop traffic, wore sundresses that actually fit properly. We clicked immediately. She thought it was attractive that I had my together, owned furniture that wasn't from IKEA, and could plan a date that didn't involve splitting an appetizer at Applebee's. For once, someone actually appreciated the whole responsible adult thing instead of calling it boring. Dating Andrea felt different from the start. We're talking real future stuff. She'd mentioned wanting to meet my extended family, asked about my lease renewal, even joked about me needing a bigger place for when we move in together. She actually got excited about the Camaro project, which shocked me. Most girls I dated rolled their eyes when I talked about cars, but Andrea would bring me coffee while I worked in the garage and ask questions about what I was doing. She even helped me sand the rust spots off the quarter panels, wearing these cute overalls she'd borrowed from her mom. Her parents absolutely loved me from day one. Her dad, Steve's, this retired firefighter. Total old school guy who taught me how to properly season a cast iron pan and let me help rebuild his '76 Corvette engine. We'd spend Sunday afternoons working in his garage while drinking Budweiser and talking about everything from football to power tools. Dude became like a father to me. Steve's garage was basically automotive heaven, organized like a surgical suite with every tool labeled and hung in its proper place. Guy had a lift installed so he could work underneath cars properly, and a compressor setup that could power pneumatic tools all day. He'd inherited most of his father's tools from the 50s. These heavy American-made pieces that would probably outlast nuclear war, teaching me to rebuild carburetors and adjust valves while sharing stories about fighting fires and raising kids. Her mom, Grace, treated me like the son she never had, always sending me home with containers of leftovers, texting me links to articles she thought I'd find interesting, asking my opinion on everything from what color to paint the guest room to which lawnmower Steve should buy. When Andrea and I would visit for dinner, Grace would literally shoo her daughter away so she could show me her tomato garden or ask about my job. Grace had this massive vegetable garden that she treated like a science experiment, row after row of perfectly organized plants with detailed charts tracking growth rates and harvest dates. She'd quiz me about soil pH and irrigation systems like I was studying for finals. She'd pack me food to take home, started teaching me her canning techniques so I could preserve vegetables for winter, even let me help redesign her greenhouse layout using my project management skills. They'd constantly tell Andrea how lucky she was, how I was one of the good ones. Steve would drop hints about marriage, and Grace was always making comments about how their future grandchildren would be so well taken care of. I genuinely loved these people. By October 2022, I was ready to propose. I had a $7,500 ring hidden in my sock drawer. The plan was Christmas dinner at their house. Propose during dessert with both families there, then celebrate. Everything mapped out perfectly. Come November, I decided to go full Christmas movie mode. My family always went hard on holidays, so it felt natural to start planning early. Plus, this was our first Christmas as a serious couple heading toward engagement. Had to make it count, right? Started coordinating schedules in early November. Made dinner reservations at this steakhouse. Andrea mentioned wanting to try. Bought a green sweater because she said I looked good in that color. Even planned out the timing for gift exchanges so nothing would feel rushed. The steakhouse was this place called The Refinery that she'd mentioned after seeing it on some food blogger's Instagram. Made reservations for 7 p.m. on Christmas Eve. Prime time slot that I had to call 3 times to secure. Asked for their best table with a view of the city lights. Told them it was for a special occasion. Then I went into detective mode for the gifts. During Thanksgiving dinner, Grace mentioned her grandmother's china pattern exactly once. Something about wishing she could find more pieces to complete the set. Took me 3 weeks hitting up antique shops across 2 counties, but I tracked down 4 matching pieces. Steve casually mentioned this book about firefighting history during dinner just in passing. Spent another week hunting down a first edition online. And for Andrea, I'd been saving for months to get her this professional art supply set she kept bookmarking, but would never buy herself. The Prismacolor Premiere set with like 200 different pencils and brushes. Nearly $1,000, but watching her eyes light up would have made it worthwhile. I had backup plans for everything too. What if it snowed and we couldn't drive to her parents'? What if the restaurant lost our reservation? What if her family schedule changed? Looking back, maybe I went overboard. But that's how I show I care. I pay attention to details. I remember stuff. I plan ahead so nothing goes wrong. Early December, that's when the wheels started coming off. The first red flag came in early December when I showed Andrea the china pieces I'd found for her mom. I was genuinely excited about tracking down these impossible-to-find pieces and laid them out on my kitchen table like some kind of treasure hunter showing off his loot. She barely glanced up from her phone, just went, "Oh, yeah, that's nice." Like I'd shown her a grocery receipt instead of something I'd spent weeks hunting down. Your mom's going to lose her mind when she sees these, I said, trying to get some reaction. Still scrolling Instagram, I brushed it off. She said work was stressing her out with parent-teacher conferences and holiday programs. Work stress seemed legit at first. Teaching elementary school during December is basically herding cats while they're hopped up on candy canes and Christmas excitement. She'd come over after work looking completely drained, complaining about helicopter parents and impossible deadlines for holiday performances. I'd make her dinner and let her vent about administrative BS while she graded papers at my kitchen table. Figured the phone obsession was just her way of decompressing. Then she started mentioning Jensen, old college friend who'd moved back to town for some startup job. At first, it was innocent like, oh, Jensen thinks I should travel more, or Jensen says this town is too small for creative people. Whatever. People reconnect with old friends all the time. But then it became every conversation. Jensen this, Jensen that. Jensen thinks I should take more risks with my art. Jensen says small towns are dream killers. Jensen has all these crazy stories from living in Chicago. Dude apparently worked for some pretentious coffee company that sold artisanal blends to hipster cafes. The kind of dude who probably had strong opinions about pour-over techniques and owned more flannel shirts than a lumberjack. Andrea kept talking about his creative energy and how he'd traveled to like 6 countries before turning 30. Started making comments about how she'd never been anywhere outside Ohio. I'm not usually the jealous type, but something felt off. She'd be on her phone constantly during dinner, giving me these vague answers when I asked about her day. Started saying she was hanging out with friends instead of being specific about who or where. When I tried to confirm our Christmas dinner reservations on December 15th, she hit me with maybe we should keep things flexible this year. Flexible how? Just not so structured, more spontaneous. Red flags everywhere. But I figured she was just stressed about the holidays. Boy, was I wrong. December 22nd, the atomic bomb. It's 3 days before Christmas and I'm in my living room doing final gift wrap. Got everything organized by family member, like some kind of Christmas logistics coordinator. Her parents' gifts in one pile, my family's in another, hers front and center. That's when she walks in with this look on her face, the we need to talk face. That means someone's about to drop a bomb. Sam, we need to talk. I'm thinking maybe she wants to adjust the schedule or something. Maybe leave an hour earlier. Maybe switch the gift exchange order. Nope. She sits down on my couch and drops this. I'm bringing Jensen to Christmas dinner instead of you. I literally stopped mid-rap. The ribbon fell out of my hands like in some cheesy rom-com. Had to ask her to repeat it because my brain couldn't process what she just said. What did you just say? I know this is terrible timing, but Jensen and I have been talking and she takes this shaky breath. God, I don't know how to say this without sounding awful. Well, you're off to a great start. Try anyway. Things between us have felt so structured, like we're following some predetermined blueprint, instead of just living. With Jensen, everything feels more natural, more alive. I set down the gift I was wrapping. Ironically, it was hers. 3 days before Christmas, after I've been planning this for months. I know, it's cruel timing. I've been trying to find the right moment to tell you, but there never was one. Her voice cracks like she's the victim here. You put so much thought into everything. The gifts, the reservations, the way you remember every little thing my family says. It should make me feel loved, but instead it makes me feel trapped. Trapped by someone caring about you. Trapped by someone planning out every moment of our future, before I've even decided what I want it to look like. She's tearing up now, but pushing through it like she's delivering some rehearsed speech. Jensen doesn't do that. He lives in the moment. He makes me feel like I can breathe. That's when she drops the real nuke. And honestly, I saw the ring box in your drawer last week. I know what you're planning for Christmas dinner. I froze. You went through my stuff? I was looking for a phone charger and I saw it. Sam, I'm only 25. I'm way too young to get engaged. Can you imagine how awkward it would have been if I had to reject you in front of both families at dinner? I'm actually doing you a favor here. I just stared at her. A favor? Yes. Can you imagine how humiliating that would have been for both of us? This way, we can both save face and nobody has to watch a proposal get shot down in front of the turkey. Right. Very thoughtful of you. She's full on crying now. You're being sarcastic, but I'm genuinely trying to spare your feelings here. Jensen doesn't pressure me about the future. He just wants to enjoy what we have right now. And what about the gifts, the reservations, your family expecting me? I'll handle my family. They'll understand. And honestly, maybe this is for the best. We clearly want different things, Sam. I need someone who doesn't have our entire life mapped out on a spreadsheet. Here's the thing. I could have fought for her. Could have pointed out that she seemed pretty happy about all my planning until Captain Spontaneous showed up. Could have begged her to wait until after Christmas. Could have asked why she was sabotaging everything we'd built. But honestly, something in me just snapped. Like when you're in a meeting and someone presents a terrible idea, but you're professional enough not to tell them they're an idiot. I stood up, gathered all the gifts I'd bought for her family into a neat pile, and set them on the coffee table. Give these to your parents. They deserve to have Christmas gifts, even if I won't be there to watch them open them. She's looking at me like I'm some kind of robot. Sam, you're making this way harder than it needs to be. Nah, I'm making it exactly as hard as it needs to be. Went to my bedroom, got her overnight bag from my closet, the one with her spare clothes and toiletries, and handed it to her. Opened the front door and held it. Can we try to stay friends? She asks while clutching her bag. I just looked at her. You made your choice, Andrea. I'm not going to argue about it or help you feel better about screwing me over. More crying. But not the I made a mistake kind. The frustrated this isn't going, according to my script kind. Yeah, well, welcome to the club. After she left, I sat there staring for about 10 minutes before my brain kicked back in, called my best friend Liam and just said, I need to get out of here. Dude, what happened? You sound like someone just told you they're making another Matrix sequel. Andrea dumped me 3 days before Christmas for Jensen. Dead silence. Then the college douchebag with the man bun who works at that pretentious coffee startup. Are you absolutely kidding me right now? 20 minutes later, I'm at Liam's apartment with an overnight bag. Guy's got his gaming setup ready and a cooler full of Mountain Dew, like he's preparing for some kind of breakup war room operation. Christmas at Liam's better than expected. So, let me get this straight, Liam says while booting up Call of Duty. Princess Spontaneous couldn't handle dating an actual adult, so she traded you for Walmart Ryan Gosling. She said I was too structured, that I planned everything out too much. Yeah, God forbid someone remembers her birthday and doesn't live in his mom's basement eating Hot Pockets. Liam hands me a controller. Did you tell her about the ring? She found it in my drawer. Said she was doing me a favor by dumping me before I could propose. Liam pauses the game and just stares at me. Wait, what the hell? Are you serious? Her exact words. Bro, I've heard some delusional in my time, but that's Hall of Fame level crazy. He unpauses and immediately gets sniped by some 12-year-old. You know what this means, right? You just dodged a bullet the size of the Death Star. Imagine if you'd actually married someone who thinks caring about her is a character flaw. Liam's place was basically a bachelor pad museum, massive 75-inch TV mounted on the wall, gaming chairs that looked like they belonged in race cars, and enough gaming consoles to stock a Best Buy. His kitchen consisted of a microwave, mini fridge, and coffee maker. Because why overcomplicate things? Dude had his priorities straight and zero shame about living like a grown-up kid who paid his own bills. We spent Christmas Eve gaming and eating pizza rolls while trash-talking random kids online. Every time I started getting in my head about the whole situation, Liam would drop some ridiculous comment about Andrea or make some joke that would crack me up despite everything. You know what's going to be hilarious? He said around 2 a.m. while we're getting destroyed in some battle royale. She's gonna spend Christmas explaining to her family why you got replaced by a guy whose biggest accomplishment is probably running a Juice Cleanse Instagram account. That actually made me laugh. Her dad's going to hate him. Dude, Steve's gonna eat that pretentious hipster alive. I give it 2 hours before he starts asking Jensen about his 5-year plan just to watch him squirm. Christmas morning, I woke up early anyway out of habit. Made coffee, went for a long walk around Liam's neighborhood, called my parents. They weren't even surprised about the breakup. Apparently, they'd had reservations about Andrea, but didn't want to say anything while I was happy. She always seemed like she was looking for something else, my mom said. Like, you were just a placeholder until something more exciting came along. Thanks for the heads up, Mom. My phone started blowing up around noon on Christmas Day. First, it was Andrea. My mom keeps asking where you are, and I don't know what to tell her. Then, Jensen is trying his best, but he doesn't understand our family traditions. By evening, the tea set you got my mom made her cry. She said it was the most thoughtful gift she'd ever received. Her parents started texting me directly around dinner time. Steve, Sam, Grace, and I are furious with Andrea for what she did to you. You didn't deserve this garbage. The gifts you got us are incredible, and we're heartbroken you're not here. You'll always be family to us. Grace sent me a whole paragraph. Sweetheart, I don't understand what got into our daughter. You're family to us and always will be. This Jensen boy is rude and arrogant, and we told Andrea exactly how we feel about this whole situation. We love you, and we're so sorry. They even sent me pictures of Grace using the tea set and Steve reading his book, clearly trying to show Andrea what she'd thrown away. Steve's follow-up text included a photo of him giving Jensen the stink eye across the dinner table, while the dude tried to explain why he didn't eat meat. Apparently, Captain Spontaneous was also Captain Vegan, which went over about as well as you'd expect with a retired firefighter who considered a meal incomplete without at least 2 different kinds of protein. The final text of the night was from Andrea again. I think I might have made a mistake. Can we please talk after the holidays? I read every message, started typing responses to all of them, deleted everything, put my phone on airplane mode. She made her choice, and I wasn't about to help her feel better about it. 2 weeks later, she called me around 11 p.m. on a Tuesday, voice all raw and desperate like she'd been crying for hours. Sam, I need to talk to you. Jensen. Jensen left. Okay, that's it, just okay. What do you want me to say, Andrea? He said he was just having fun over the holidays and didn't want anything serious. He's going back to Chicago. Her voice cracks. I threw away everything we had for someone who was just messing around, shocking absolutely no one except you. Please don't be cruel. I'm falling apart here and you're just cold. What did you expect? You chose the guy who lives in the moment over the guy who planned ahead. Turns out living in the moment means he wasn't planning to stick around. Apparently, Jensen had been pretty upfront about his intentions if she'd bothered to listen. Dude was in town for exactly 6 weeks to help launch some pop-up coffee concept, then heading back to his real life in Chicago. Never had any intention of staying or building anything permanent. She kept calling for weeks after that, left voicemails that got increasingly desperate and pathetic. Her friends started hitting me up too, like some kind of intervention squad. First, Jessica. Andrea's really struggling and she misses you so much. She knows she made a huge mistake and she's learned from it. Then, Madison. She's been crying every day since New Year's. Can't you just talk to her? She really needs closure. You're being so cruel and unreasonable. Meanwhile, Liam's sending me screenshots of her Instagram posts with commentary like, "Damn, someone discovered the deep quote section on Pinterest. And is this the same chick who said you were suffocating her?" Because she's looking pretty suffocated by her own drama right now. Her social media became this cringe fest of sad quotes about realizing what you had when it's gone, and pictures of herself looking all contemplative in coffee shops. Classic pick-me energy that had me and Liam cracking up. The best part, Liam actually commented on one of her feeling lost and alone in this big world posts, with maybe try a GPS and a dating app. I nearly choked on my drink when I saw that. By March, the calls finally stopped. Heard through mutual friends that she'd moved back in with her parents and started therapy. Honestly, good for her. Hope she figured out whatever was broken inside that made her blow up her life. Meanwhile, I threw myself into actually living instead of just planning to live. Started taking photography classes on weekends, which led to solo trips around Ohio, hitting up state parks and small towns. Started hitting the gym more often. The photography classes were at this community college downtown, taught by this old-school photographer who'd worked for newspapers back when that was still a real job. Learned to shoot manual mode on my grandfather's ancient Nikon that had been collecting dust in my closet. Started documenting the Camaro restoration process, which turned into this whole portfolio about American muscle cars and working-class pride. Even had a few prints selected for a local art show. Work was going great, too. My project management skills, which Andrea found suffocating, were getting me promoted. Turns out being organized and thinking ahead were actually valuable traits in the real world. The promotion came with a nice bump in salary and my own office with actual windows. Started leading bigger projects, coordinating subcontractors for commercial developments, managing timelines for entire shopping centers. But the real win, I finally pulled the trigger on something I'd been wanting for years. Bought a 2018 Harley Sportster. Thing was a bit beat up, but had good bones. Spent my weekends in Liam's garage tearing it down and rebuilding it piece by piece. You know what they call a motorcycle that won't start? Liam said one Saturday while I'm rebuilding the carburetor. A really expensive paperweight with trust issues. Kind of like my dating life, but louder. Liam with his lame jokes. There's something therapeutic about working with your hands, you know? Plus, every time I fired up that engine, I felt like I was reclaiming something Andrea had tried to take from me. The confidence to be myself. Started hanging out with the boys way more often, too. We'd hit up this sports bar downtown, play pool, and watch March Madness. It felt good to just be around people who didn't overthink everything or analyze my personality for character flaws. That's when I met Celeste through this hiking group I'd joined. Complete opposite of Andrea in every way that mattered. Where Andrea was impulsive and flighty, Celeste was thoughtful and grounded. Where Andrea was always looking for the next adventure, Celeste appreciated building something solid. Most importantly, she actually liked the stuff about me that Andrea found overwhelming. I love how you remember things, she told me when we were planning our third date. It makes me feel like I actually matter to you. Celeste is the kind of person who chose a career based on actually helping people instead of chasing some abstract, creative fulfillment. She'd grown up on a farm outside Columbus, knew how to fix things when they broke, and understood the value of hard work and planning ahead. The girl could back up a truck, change a tire, and cook a meal that didn't come from a box. Plus, she thought the Harley was badass and wanted to learn to ride. Our first Christmas together, she was genuinely excited about doing it right. I want to meet your family and I want you to meet mine, she said while we were picking out a tree. My family does everything last minute, and I've always wanted to experience what it's like when someone actually plans ahead. Are you sure? I tend to go overboard with holiday planning. She laughed and kissed me. Promise me you will. We're at Target buying decorations when my phone buzzes. Text from an unknown number. Hey, it's Andrea. I know it's been a while, but I wanted to reach out. I'm doing much better now, and I was hoping we could talk. Maybe grab coffee and catch up, showed Celeste the message. She reads it and asks, do you want to respond? Thought about it for exactly 2 seconds. Nope. Deleted it and went back to debating between silver and gold garland. Good choice, Celeste said. The gold will look better with your couch anyway. Then came the holiday party ambush. Our mutual friend Jake throws this holiday party every year at his place. Celeste and I show up fashionably late. I'm feeling good about life. And then I see her across the room. Andrea's standing by the punch bowl looking smaller than I remembered, checking her phone every 30 seconds like she's waiting for an Uber. Celeste spots her immediately. Is that her? Yep, and she looks about as lost as I expected. I'm talking to Jake about his new job when I feel someone approach from behind. Turn around and there's Andrea with this forced smile holding her drink like a shield. Sam, I didn't know you'd be here tonight. You look really good, healthy. I put my arm around Celeste's waist. Hey Andrea, this is Celeste, my girlfriend. Celeste immediately extends her hand with a genuine smile. Celeste, I know Sam mentioned you two had history. It's nice to meet you. I watch Andrea completely ignore Celeste's outstretched hand and look her up and down. Right, Celeste? The way she says it sounds like she's tasting something bitter. I've been thinking about us lately, Andrea says, voice getting tight while still pretending Celeste doesn't exist. About what we had together, all those plans we made. That was a long time ago, Andrea. I've moved on, but don't you miss it? The way we used to be, the way you used to plan everything for us. She's looking directly at me, completely cutting Celeste out of the conversation like she's invisible. Celeste jumps in, clearly proud. Oh, Sam's been amazing. He's working with my mom to perfect her grandmother's prime rib recipe for Christmas dinner, and he found the most incredible gifts for my nieces and nephews. I honestly don't know how he keeps track of what they all love, but it's one of the things I adore about him. Andrea's face goes through about 5 different emotions. Surprise, anger, jealousy, rage, before settling on pure venom. How nice for you, she says to Celeste with this fake, sweet voice. It's so easy to appreciate someone when you haven't had to deal with their obsessive need to control everything yet. Give it time. Excuse me, Celeste says, stepping forward. Please, Andrea says, composure completely cracking as she turns back to me. Can we just talk privately without her? No, I interrupted. Have a good time, Andrea. You can't be serious right now. You're really going to choose her over what we had? I already did 13 months ago when you made the choice for me. But I know now that I made a mistake. I was young and scared and stupid. Her voice is getting louder and more desperate. Head's starting to turn. You can't just replace me with some random girl. As Celeste and I start walking toward the exit, I turn back one last time. Next time you find someone who plans Christmas around you, maybe don't wait until 3 days before to tell them they're uninvited to their own proposal. That's when she completely lost it. Are you serious right now? She screams across the party loud enough to stop every conversation. You're just gonna walk away after everything we had? The whole party goes dead silent, Celeste squeezing my hand, and we keep walking. But Andrea's not done making a scene. She doesn't even know you like I do. She's just some rebound who'll never understand what we had. Her friends, Jessica and Madison, come rushing over from across the room, trying to grab her arms and drag her toward the door. Andrea, stop. You're making a scene, Jessica hisses. I don't care. He's making a huge mistake, and everyone here knows it. As they're physically dragging her toward the exit, Madison shoots us this dirty look over her shoulder and says loud enough for half the party to hear. Wow, real classy, Sam. Bringing this random girl just to hurt Andrea. You actually downgraded in case none told you. Celeste squeezes my hand as we walk to my truck. Well, that was more dramatic than I expected. For me, or for her? Definitely for her. She looked like she was watching her entire future walk away. Maybe she was, but that's not my problem anymore. Rest of the party was great once the drama cleared out. Made plans for New Year's Eve, talked about vacation destinations, just enjoyed being with someone who actually wanted to be there. Fast forward to summer, and life was honestly better than I could have imagined. The Harley restoration was complete. Liam and I had turned that beaten-up Sportster into something that belonged in a magazine. Every Saturday, we'd cruise around Ohio, hitting up small towns and dive bars, just enjoying the freedom. You know what's funny? Liam said one weekend as we're grabbing lunch in some town I can't even pronounce. A year ago, you were planning Christmas dinner with Crazy, and now you're out here living like a Springsteen song. Character development, bro. Celeste had moved into my place around April, and it was seamless. Girl could cook like she went to culinary school, actually wanted to hit the gym with me. And here's the crazy part. She never complained when I'd disappear to work on the bike or hang with the boys. She'd just smile and say, "Have fun, babe," then post some cute story about loving to watch me in my element. Her Instagram was basically a shrine to our relationship, but in a good way. Pictures of us hiking, me working on the Harley, us cooking together on weekends. She'd caption them with stuff like, "Watching this man follow his passions makes me fall in love all over again." And her friends would comment about how lucky she was to find someone who had his life together. That's when things got weird again. Turns out Andrea had been stalking our social media from fake accounts for months. Celeste started getting strange messages from random profiles with no photos, nothing directly threatening, just passive-aggressive stuff like, "Enjoy it while it lasts." And some people just steal other people's happiness instead of finding their own. The fake accounts were amateur hour, obviously created just to spy on us. One account messaged Celeste, pretending to be concerned about my history with commitment issues and suggesting she ask Sam about what really happened with his ex. Celeste screenshotted everything and showed me laughing about how pathetic the whole thing was. Then Andrea escalated to real-world crazy. Started showing up at my work just standing in the parking lot, staring at the building like some kind of rejected rom-com protagonist. Security had to escort her off company property twice. She called my coworkers asking them to talk sense into me about making a huge mistake. Our office building has security cameras everywhere, so we had footage of her sitting in her car for hours just watching the entrance. Building security started recognizing her vehicle and would call me whenever she showed up. My boss asked if I needed time off to deal with a personal situation, which was embarrassing as hell. Here I am trying to maintain a professional reputation while my crazy ex is turning my workplace into her surveillance headquarters. She even tried calling Liam. "Dude, your psycho ex called me last night. He told me while we're working on his car. Wanted me to convince you that Celeste's not right for you and you're making a terrible decision." I told her the only terrible decision was her showing up at your job like some kind of discount stalker. What exactly did she say? Oh, the usual crazy stuff. That Celeste doesn't really know you, that you're just rebounding, that you'll realize your mistake when the honeymoon phase ends. He grins. So, I told her that at least Celeste doesn't need a restraining order to understand boundaries. The final straw came when she started harassing Celeste online. Came with those fake Instagram accounts to leave comments on our engagement photos, calling Celeste a placeholder and a rebound. Her flying monkeys, Jessica and Madison, joined in commenting on our pictures with crying emojis and this won't last messages like a bunch of middle schoolers. Then she started leaving gifts on my porch. It was pathetic. White roses with notes like remembering what we had and some love never dies. Celeste was getting genuinely freaked out, and honestly, so was I. Time to lawyer up. Got a restraining order that basically told her to stay 500 feet away from me. Celeste, my house, my job, and anywhere we might reasonably be expected to exist. Thought that would be the end of it. I was wrong. One Friday night in late February 2024, we're all at my place. Me, Celeste, and Liam having an epic Mario Kart tournament. Celeste's absolutely destroying us and talking trash like she was born for competitive gaming. That's when we hear the pounding on my front door. "Sam, I know you're in there." Andrea, drunk as hell from the sound of it. "Celeste is not better than me. You're making the biggest mistake of your life." I'm reaching for my phone to call the cops when Liam grabs my intercom system. "Hold up. Let me handle this. I've been waiting for this moment." He keys the intercom. "Yo, Andrea, it's Liam. Remember me? Your ex's best friend who warned him about you from day one? Liam, get Sam out here right now." "Nah, Sam's busy being happy. But hey, thanks for proving my point about you being completely unhinged. I'm not leaving until he talks to me." "Cool. Well, the cops should be here in about 5 minutes, so you might want to work on your cardio, unless orange jumpsuits are your thing." Celeste is filming the whole exchange on her phone, partly for evidence and partly because Liam's roasting session is absolutely legendary. "Oh, and Andrea," Liam continues, clearly enjoying himself. Next time you want to drunk dial someone at midnight, maybe try ordering pizza instead. At least then someone would actually want to deliver to your address. By the time the police showed up, she was sitting on my porch steps, sobbing and rambling incoherently about how she just wanted to talk and explain everything. They arrested her for violating the restraining order, public intoxication, and disturbing the peace. As they're loading her into the cruiser, she's screaming about how Celeste stole her life and how I used to be different. The neighbors are all outside watching this train wreck unfold like it's dinner theater. Liam looks at us as the police car drives away and says, "Well, that was loud. Anyone wants pizza?" Never heard from her again after that night. Heard through the grapevine she moved to Portland and started fresh somewhere else. Hope she figured out whatever was broken inside that made her think destroying someone else's happiness would fix her own problems. Celeste and I are getting married this coming summer. Already proposed with the same ring I bought for Andrea, but this time it's for someone who actually deserved it. Liam's my best man, and his speech will probably include a 5-minute roast of my questionable taste in ex-girlfriends that'll have the entire wedding cracking up. My restored Harley will be our getaway vehicle. Celeste in her wedding dress riding behind me on a motorcycle will probably be the coolest moment of my existence. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's just living well and finding someone who appreciates the same things about you.